Howdy, everybody. It's your cousin Rogan calling calling from my hospital chambers again. Uh, I got rescued from the endless succession of mediocre, forgotten Jimmy Stewart movies by a nurse I complained to, showing me that there's a menu here of just recent Hollywood movies that I could watch on the TV. So I thought I would catch up on some of those. Just try to watch Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. Um, it's not. I mean, I don't even have to look up the reviews of it to know everyone else has said the exact same thing I'm about to say about Elvis. I just got two killing problems. One is that Baz Luhrmann seems to be sort of shifty about avoiding making a movie, doesn't he? I mean, it's always been the case with his movies. They're sort of intentional swing and a miss kind of things structurally. They're like the next generation's version of the weirder Ken Russell pictures. He's studiously avoiding making a movie in any traditional terms, scene structure, the larger structure of scene to scene. These movies he makes, they avoid that. Even so, the last couple of pictures he's made, it's just nice out there, isn't it? The last couple of pictures he's made, The Great Gatsby and this Elvis movie, they aren't, they just don't gel. They feel like bullshit jobs. They feel like self-satire in a bad way. I was trying to think of the Ken Russell movie to compare that to, but I don't think actually Ken Russell ever did that. I think his movies got a little stranger and a little more abstract, but they never wandered entirely off the rails. Baz Luhrmann seems to have wandered entirely off the rails for the last couple of pictures he's made, but perhaps more importantly and more tellingly, nobody can play Elvis. Nobody can play Elvis. The guy not only was unique in terms of his physical presence, his charisma, his weirdly androgynous sexuality, racelessness, the way he drew from black culture to bring it to white kids, the way he was sexy without being sexy. Yeah, there's nobody was ever better looking than Elvis, or had better presence as a musician, or embodied more the spirit of rock and roll in so many ways. And not only that, we all know he was iconic intrinsically. And he wasn't just iconic as a stage presence, in concert movies and concert clips. He starred in movies. Like, he starred in a bunch of movies. He's a really effective, mediocre actor with a huge screen presence. It's hard to get around that. I actually didn't even look up who the actor is playing young Elvis in the first part of this movie. I only watched 45 minutes of it. He's doing a good job. He's working hard. He's got the accent right some of the time. Quiet moments, the dialogue scenes, he's got the body language sort of right. But for the stage stuff, like the pelvis grinding moments that made him famous, it's not there. It's just not there. I assume he's doing his own singing, the actor. There's another thing about this Baz Luhrmann picture is it's dodging the music. It doesn't seem like it's totally dodging the music. It seems like it's trying to embrace a deeper understanding, an insightful blend from song to song, not unlike the weird medleys of pop songs in what I think is his best movie, Moulin Rouge. work. It doesn't work. If you didn't know anything about the music, it might work okay. If you didn't care about early rock and roll, early black rock and roll, uh, electric blues, jukebox blues from this era, artists like Hank Snow and Jimmy Rogers, if you didn't, and and the way that Elvis brought black music to white kids, and what that meant, it is nice to see the movie sort of undertake the good work that is recovering Elvis's reputation as a cultural what's the word I'm looking for? When you steal culture, a cultural oh, there's a word for it. It's generally a negative word. Appropriator. Appropriation is cultural appropriation, in the most positive sense. It's cultural cross pollination. What Elvis did for white rock and roll and black rock and roll, changing blues into pop music going forward. There's no overstating its importance, and that a couple of generations had sort of decided that Elvis was a backwards hick white Mississippi racist, deeply misunderstands him personally and his musical legacy as well. He himself would be horrified were he to have lived long enough to see that it's misunderstood to be a racist because he stole songs from black pop singers and used words like colored at a time when that was polite language. If you can't tell, he's one of my heroes. Elvis Presley's one of my heroes. And maybe it's impossible to make a great movie about Elvis. And if so, it's in part because he's in some movies, and some great concert movies too. There's a couple of late Elvis concert movies that are just spectacular from between 65 and 73 or so. There's and the movies they made for him to star in, movies like Kid Creole, or King Creole, and Jailhouse Rock. It's a great movie. Great bad movies. These are very silly, very shallow movies. They're like the Gidget movies, but so much cooler. And there's nothing like his voice, that accent, that strange Tupelo white boy from a black neighborhood accent, that developed into something stranger and stranger as his drug habit grew more and more complex as he got older. He was the king, and he was the king, and there's no really facing the king as squarely as a movie would have to be an effective biopic and really pull it off. God bless him. Anyway, it's not even a good leaping off point if you're not familiar with the mythos of Elvis. I always thought the Mark Childress novel Tender would make a great movie about Elvis, the young Elvis, and I think it still would. If you don't know much about Elvis, his life, his work, his legacy, listen to the Sun Records recordings, Elvis, Scotty, and Bill, the early RCA recordings, everything up before he went into the military. It's about 100 tracks, and read that Mark Childress novel or read a biography. There must be good biographies. Anyway, I can't recommend it.